At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. I am one of your hosts this week, Professor Chris G, and on the other line with me today is my super sleuth brother. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, my man, how you doing?
They call me 006.
You were hoping I was going to say something along those lines. I feel like you had that in your back pocket already.
I've had that, yeah, no, I mean, full disclosure, I probably, we just finished like a brief discussion about, for the,
007?
The James Bond character, and I was like, if he doesn't tie that in, I'm going to tie it in. So, I mean, I've had it in the chamber for maybe 10 minutes, nothing crazy.
Okay, all right. But how are you doing today? It's a very, very, very wet and rainy day out here today.
Yeah, I'm okay. Had to walk in the house because Mom was out running some errands, and she was like, "Oh, I think you'll be all right." So I got ready, and I headed out. I mean, I understood that it was raining, so I took my little rain jacket. I got, I don't know, maybe a couple turns.
And you got
one of the last. It started to pour, and I was like, "Well, this sucks." And one of the last things I said before I left the house was, as soon as I see a first bit of lightning, I'm turning back around. Well, then a big boom and a big clap of lightning, and I was like, I'm going back in the house. So that was fine. And then I was telling you when we first got on this call, about 5 o'clock, it started kind of getting cloudy. And then all of a sudden, the daggum tornado siren started going off. And, first world problems. I'm in the middle of an online game of Madden. I'm kicking this guy's.
And you get distracted, and he comes back and he beats you.
No. I was beating him, and it was just a matter of when he was going to quit. And because I'm like, I am not taking this loss because I have to fucking bail out to the basement. Oh. Well, he quit just about the time the siren started going off, so I don't know. Oh. Somebody somewhere heard me, so I was.
Oh, you be beating them that bad like that? You jump online now and just torment these noobs?
I'm a bad motherfucker.
I see that now. So you're that with Madden like me and my son are with shooter games.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. You put a first person shooter in my hands, I'm lost in the weeds. You put me on Madden and you say go, I'll rip off 14 points real quick.
Yeah, you're pretty good. I've learned my lesson once or twice playing you, thinking I was all big and bad, and you're sitting over here like, I'm all right. I'm not the best, but I mean, I'm okay. I jump on there like 10 seconds in, it's already 21-0, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
The hell, I haven't even really sat down.
I mean, I swear this just started. And then I look at the timer, only 5 seconds have passed. Like, what the hell?
But yeah, so yeah, no, I asked if you had it, and your response was, well, if we had them, I didn't hear them, which means you didn't have them because you would have heard them, or, your wife would have been rattling your cage.
Yup. She would have said, it's time to go downstairs. And I would have been like, I don't wanna. And I was like, it's not that bad. And it would have been a whole thing.
It would have been a whole thing. And then you'd be like, all right, we can go down there, but y'all got to be quiet. I'm trying to get this episode in. And she said, fuck your episode. And then,
Yep. That's how it would have gone.
That's exactly how it would have gone.
But yeah, outside of that, let's see. On my end, I've been in a big video game mood, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but video games are harder and harder and harder to sit down and play for long periods of time anymore.
Yes, I mean,
at least for me.
It used to be, it's like, okay, you get home from school, you can do your homework, and then, it's whatever. There's these damn things called responsibilities.
Yes.
And, you've got this thing called a family, and...
Yes.
Something about being an adult, I mean, it's just,
paying bills,
paying bills.
Making sure these lights stay on. It's hard.
For real.
It's harder than it looks.
and you've got fucking systems going down in your house and shit.
Yup. That's not fun. Freaking AC system went kaput, and I was like, beep, and I was like, darn. So I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna, it's not for me to disclose your business, but did you come home to that, or were you home when it went out? No, I woke up at around 1:00 in the morning, and it was burning hot in my house. I'm like,
oh,
and I was like, what the hell is going on? So, I went over and I looked at the thermostat, and the thermostat says 78, and I was like, that's weird. And I checked the app out for what it is outside, and it says 74. I was like, that's really weird. But I was like, you know what? I was like, maybe it's just now cooling off. So I went and I laid back in bed, and then when I went to get up for bed, I was like, it is still really hot. And then I walk into where my thermostat is, and I look at it, and I'm like, I don't hear anything.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, so that's weird. So I went and I started taking the garbage bins out, and all of a sudden I take out my elderly neighbor's garbage as well, and my furnace is on their facing their side of the house. So all of a sudden all I'm hearing when I walk to that side is and I was like, the fuck is that sound? And I'm looking around, and I'm like, did something happen? And I walk over to my AC unit, and the AC unit blade is not running, and I hear it trying to run, and I was like, oh, frick. And I walk inside, and I'm like, babe, AC went out. She's like, what the hell do you mean it went out? I was like, it went out. I was like, it don't work no more. I was like, the engine's done. And yeah, so been dealing with that. I found out that I can just get another engine for like fairly cheap. But what I did find out when I had my stuff inspected is the reason that my AC unit does not keep the house like cold is because it's not made for my size of house. So yeah. So
how the hell does that happen?
I'll tell you how that happened. So so my house, the way my house was not built like that. So I'm not gonna disclose everything, but I mean you know the extension like going back in my home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That did not come with my home when this house was first built.
Right.
Neither did the upper master bedroom. It was honestly where I sleep now, all of that it was added onto my home. So my home extends back pretty far. Like you go downstairs and it extends. And even when you first saw the house, you're like, holy shit, this is a really big basement. But yeah, it extends pretty far back. So the previous owner, when he added that extension to the house, never updated the AC unit. So the AC unit was made for basically the front part of my home to keep that whole section nice and cool. But when they added all of that extra to my home, now the AC struggles to keep all of that extra nice and cool, and it's just hard for it to keep up.
Yeah, because we've had a couple of warm days here, and it was probably really pushing, and it just hit its breaking point.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. So that being said, now when I had the inspection, because I was like, I just need a new motor. And we were basically told, well, we can get you a new motor for fairly cheap, but if it's continuously running like this for like the next year or so, the same thing is going to happen. And I was like,
right.
I was like, okay, all right. So what do we need for my home? And he was like, you need this. I was like, but I don't want that. And he's like, well, you need this. And in order for you to have this, the system that you have for your furnace as well, this will be putting way too much pressure on there and it'll blow your furnace because we have an older furnace. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yep, that's how the system works. And to have this new system, we're going to have to pipe in a few little bigger pieces of pipe into where this unit is going to be sitting. I was like, of course you would. Why wouldn't you? So, long story short, he said, well, this is all you're looking at. And he handed me an estimate and my mouth done just dropped to the damn floor. And I was like, it's going to cost how much? He's like, oh, but don't worry. You can finance. A word that most adults just love to hear. Yeah, you can.
Oh, it's my favorite word.
Oh, yeah. He's like, don't worry. You don't need to pay all of this now. You can finance. And he shoves the receipt in my hand. I was like, Arr. I was like, yeah, you just want your money. But long story short, I'm shopping around, and I think I know where the route that we're gonna end up going, and it sucks. And I'm probably gonna be without AC for the next like 48, 72 hours, and it's gonna start getting hot starting tomorrow. And
of course, that's the rule.
Yeah, of course. This couldn't have happened like last week when it was like a lot cooler. But no.
No.
So yeah, right when it's about to start getting hot. But yeah, that's where we're at right now, and I'm just grinding my teeth, going, okay, I'm an adult. I said I wanted to be an adult. Oh man, yeah.
Shit's overrated anyway.
It is. Like my son's always telling me, he's like, man, I can't wait until I'm an adult so I can. I was like, nope, stop right there.
No, not even a little bit.
I was like, you stay your little butt in school. You cherish every little moment that you have. And yeah. But outside of that, I did just have a nice little vacation with the family. I don't need to disclose where we went, but it was a really nice, like, mini 5-day vacation. So
that's good.
Yeah, it was good. It's all nice. So outside of that, I am good. I like this rain.
Good.
I do like looking outside, watching it rain. I don't like being at work when it's raining, but I do like being at home when it's raining and it's a nice big downpour. And I think that's the last that we're going to have of rain for a while. I think this was just our major downpour. I'm going to check it while we're out, right?
I was going to say, I think for the summer, maybe. I mean, obviously,
No. We're getting it on Friday and Saturday. Booyah! That's what I'm talking about. But that just sucks for the person that's going to be installing our stuff because they're going to be out there in that rain. So,
okay, well, I've only got it on Saturday, so.
Oh, lucky you. I got it Friday and Saturday. Maybe it'll update it in a few hours for you.
Well, I think that's a trade-off. I got monsoon a couple hours ago, so I only have to do one extra day.
That's the trade-off?
I think that's a trade-off. It makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Okay. Yeah. Let's pray. I don't want a text message on Friday going, I got rain down on my walk, you mother beep.
I mean, it blew. I'm telling you, like, so it was like, oh, I can deal with a little bit of rain. I've got a rain jacket. I'll be all right.
Did you at least make it in before the visibility went to 0?
Oh, you mean before you could? Yeah, no, I beat that. I got that in. I was all right.
Okay, good. That made me worried for a second. I was like, I remember at one point I looked outside and I saw white. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad I'm not out there right now.
Yeah, no, like I say, I'm walking around, and I'm carrying a piece of metal, so I'm, kind of like a walking billboard for anything. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to run my mouth and get struck down here. And then going to end up being like some kind of superhero or something.
I know, right? You would tell me if you were a superhero, wouldn't you? Would I be?
No, what's the one?
Would I be the one friend in the comic book that you tell that you have superpowers?
Not right away.
Oh, why not? I tell you.
Well, no, but I can't tell you that until like halfway through the first movie.
Well, that's the point. Like you go and you save somebody, and then I'm just standing there, and I'm like, whoa, Doug. You're like, oh yeah, I'm Super D.
Oh man. Oh boy.
So many taglines that could be used.
Oh boy. Depends on what kind of movie you're trying to make. Oh boy.
You swoop in like Superman. You're like, I am Super D, and I am here. I can't finish that because it's fairly inappropriate. Not for a Pokemon podcast.
For real. We do have lines, folks.
We do. But don't think Super D is going away. I think that's. I'm gonna call you that a few times now. I like that. And he is my super sleuth friend, Super D.
I have to get all my business cards changed and everything.
For real, he's like, as soon as I get Dougie Fresh business cards, he goes and changes my stupid name.
For real. No, and those ain't cheap, you bastard.
For real. So, all right. Well, now that we got all that out of the way, you never know what's going to happen on this podcast, everybody. I'm hoping that we made you laugh. So, okay. But outside of that, we are here to talk Pokemon, and today's episode is titled Sobble Spies a Stealthy Strategy. Or, translated from Japanese, Messon Impossible.
I kind of like that better. Like, no bullshit, you know.
You like that?
I mean, they're both good, but yeah, I mean, there's something. I mean, because it lends on the spy theme.
Yeah, it's just like Mission Impossible, but Messon Impossible.
I don't think you could go wrong if you flipped a coin and it came up either heads or tails. I don't think you'd be upset.
I don't think so either. I think this is one of the very rare Japanese titles that you actually like, because sometimes they get to the point and sometimes they're just like a whole story they're
a whole ass essay. They're just
so just like next week the Japanese translation is The Tale of You and Me in Luminous Maze Forests.
Jiminy Cricket.
That is the Japanese, and then the English title is The Tale of You and Glenwood Tangle. So not too much different, but
not too much different, no.
So, but I still like the Messon Impossible.
Especially, yeah, because you have to hit it like that.
Yes.
If you don't hit it like that, you're cheating yourself.
I know. You can't just say Messon Impossible. No, it has to be Messon Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. But this episode premiered February 5th, 2021 in Japan. And here in the States, just like the last few episodes, the last 5 episodes, premieres September 10th, 2021 on Netflix here in the States. So, you ready, Doug?
I am ready.
All right. So, I hit the play button. This is a Netflix original series. We have Ash sitting here and Go sitting here, and the narrator's going over every single thing that we have talked about in the past 5 episodes, so I'm not going to go and repeat it, but that's how we're starting this episode. And straight from here, we jump in and we see a whole bunch of Pokemon just playing in the professor's garden. You have Chingling, you have Poliwag, Tentacool, you have Dewgong, you have Magikarp, and another Magikarp. You have, what I think is funny, you have a Geodude and a Mankey fighting over a ball. And they're like, gimme. And then you have a whole bunch of baby Pokemon playing with some yellow and blue balls. You have Venonat pretending that he is a ball. You have Cubone over here getting ready to play golf with a Metapod and a Weedle watching on. And you have a Beedrill, Dustox, Butterfree, and then you go over and you see a red ball is flying in the air, and Pikachu is getting ready to hit this ball, and Ash is like, "You got it, Pikachu!" And Pikachu's like, "Yeah!" And Pikachu slaps the ball, and the ball goes and flies over Sobble, who was supposed to catch the ball. So, I mean...
he was never going to catch that ball. There was no way he was going to...
Yeah, all he had to do was jump.
Shit.
Or use water gun, and he could...
Oh, okay. He could have knocked it down.
Yeah. But it flies right over Sobble's head, and Sobble's like, "Oh, no. And he runs over to a bush, and as soon as he gets over to the bush, Darmanitan jumps out and just scares Sobble, and Sobble's like, "Oh, no!" And Darmanitan's like, "Haha, I scared you. And Go's like, "Sobble, are you all good?" And Sobble just starts running away and just starts crying. He's like, "Ah! Oh my gosh. And he turns himself invisible, and we flash forward, and Pikachu is patting Sobble on the head like, "Oh, it's okay. It happens to the best of us." And Go sitting here is like, "Darmanitan can't seem to resist pulling a prank on poor old Sobble. Sometimes a little payback is good." And Sobble's like, "Yeah, but I'm just a little chicken." And Go looks over. He's like, "That's Sobble, all right." And all of a sudden, one of the professor's assistants walks into the room, and he's like, "So while I was out on my walk, I saw a movie being made near the warehouse down the road." He's like, "And guess what it is? It's the next chapter of the Spy and Sidekick series." And goes like, "Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. I can't believe it." And Ash is sitting there because we all know Ash doesn't watch TV anymore ever since he became a Pokemon trader. And he's like, what's that?" And then they're like, "Oh my gosh, you don't know what that movie is? It's a movie series where the lead is a Pokemon trainer Spy and her partner Inteleon. It's just the coolest movie ever." And then that's when Rotom gives the Pokédex entry. Doug, I'm going to switch it over to you for the Pokédex entry.
Right, so we find out that Inteleon is a secret agent Pokemon, which right off the bat is badass. And I seriously think they missed a trick. I don't know how you would have had to manipulate the numbers. Because, and I didn't track the number on my first watch, but its number is 818, and I feel like they missed a trick by not having it be like a 00 number, but obviously you really couldn't do that because the 00s are reserved for your base 3 and their evolutions.
Yep.
Your Charmanders and Bulbasaurs and Squirtles and well, what is the starters of this generation? Like, isn't Sobble one of the starters?
Yes, he is.
So, see, why wouldn't he? But I guess this is the overall number.
Yes, this is the overall for all of these Pokemon.
So, see, if they really wanted to fight, anyway. But yes, we find out that Inteleon is a secret agent Pokemon. Let's see, if you want to play anytime, that's good. And we find out that it's a water type, and it has all types of different kind of hidden attacks that it can use. Like it can shoot water from its fingertips, and it can glide using like a membrane from its back. And we're seeing like action shots, which I feel like isn't usually included, but I feel like they're kind of cheating with the rules a little bit because Ash essentially Googled Inteleon on his Rotom. So he's got like all these clips and stuff.
And the professor just went to IMDb on the teleprompter and is like, "And look at these."
Yeah, they're like the last shot they use before they start, continuing to talk about what the assistant saw on his lunch. Inteleon looks like he's jumping from a skyscraper with a little explosion in the background. So, I mean, yeah, he literally just like used IMDb and Google Image. And the assistant's like, they just keep making sequels and they're all hits. So I kind of took it as like this is the MCU of Pokemon Master Journeys.
Yes.
And Ash is looking at the snapshots of Inteleon. He's got stars in his eyes and he's like, "This is awesome." And goes like, "I was trying to tell you." And if this was a lesser show, we would have had a time wipe and they would have sat down and watched like all of those series like in a row.
I know, for real. They definitely missed that boat. They could have sat down and Ash could have fallen like in love with this, and it's like 2 days later, and then they could have done everything else in this episode. But
right. And then we pan over and we see that Sobble is transfixed, with Inteleon, and then the professor's assistant, who is wearing a Magnemite t-shirt, I'm just now realizing, he pushes his glasses on his, the bridge of his nose, and he goes, well, see, that makes sense, because on is Sobble's final evolutionary form. No love for the fella in the middle there.
Yeah, Mr. Drizzle.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's Sobble, Drizzle, and Inteleon.
Get the fuck out, that's funny. Well, because, it's like, okay, Sobble, okay, base Pokemon, whatever. Drizzle is in the middle, and then he just, final evolution, he just completely bosses up to Inteleon.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Sobble, Drizzle, Inteleon.
So yes, I thank you for providing context, because the Drizzle wasn't mentioned at all.
No, they didn't want to dumb down Sobble at all.
There wasn't even a moment. I mean, I guess I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but I mean, whatever. We're going to cover the episode. This is our time. You clicked on this episode. There wasn't even a moment where Go and him were having a discussion. It's like, you can't just go right to Inteleon. You have to master becoming a Drizzle first. It's just, no. If you didn't know, I mean, if you weren't paying attention, because, I mean, obviously they did put this graph in there.
Yes.
You would have thought that he just goes straight from Sobble to Inteleon, which would have been silly.
But you want to know another fun fact that you don't know about Drizzle?
I'd love it.
Drizzle is in this version is more of an emo Pokemon, like the teenager emo.
Oh, so that would lend more credence as to why they're treating Sobble as a, no offense, a whiny little baby.
Yep.
Okay, well, see, little Easter eggs. They just, you pay attention, you pick some shit up. So,
they say that they're going to go and check it out.
Yes, because the Ash is like, I want to go see, and they're like, I bet they're still, shooting, and Pikachu is like tapping Sobble on the shoulder, is like, we're gonna head to a movie set, and Sobble's like, a movie set, and then we get the opening, which still hasn't hit me. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's only been 6 episodes, but I don't know.
I like it.
It's not the worst,
especially the ending. Pokemon.
Yeah, you got to appreciate it. You got to appreciate some little hook, whether it's, at the beginning or the end. So we get the title. Pikachu flicks the hat on his head. And then this is the most, generic narration the narrator's ever done. He's like, so our heroes arrive at the film set. Okay, but we could have inferred that. And then they just happen to round a corner, and then they see the director sitting there, and then the director or the narrator once again is helpful, because we've apparently come across this director before in an episode that we haven't gotten to, because we've just kind of been playing hopscotch with some of these seasons.
Yes.
This is director Kublak, and
he's considered a master of the movie business.
We see snippets of him just screaming, "This is wrong! This is wrong! This is wrong!" And he's volcanoes literally blowing up, and Ash and Go have seen this man direct a film before, and thanks to arrangements made by the professor, and
they're here to be on set today.
And he's sitting there, and he's kind of going over shots in his head. He's like, first she does this, and then she does that, and then need a certain something. And then a lonely little PA is kind of like, what should we do, sir? And Block just snaps. He's like, just fuck it. We'll do it live. And he just screams action, and this girl goes running, and she's stopped by 3 dudes, and what are those Pokemon?
Let's see. I'm having her run right now. So she's running.
Oh,
those are Murkrow.
Murkrows, yes. If I would have waited 5 seconds. And the Murkrows are swooping in, and all of a sudden they're blasted out of the air with water gun. And then Inteleon just appears and just badass. And the
Sobble's entranced.
Sobble's just like, oh my god, and like his eyes get shiny, and Go notices that Sobble's like jaws on the floor, and the Murkrow are getting ready, and then all of a sudden this car comes shooting onto set and just does like a 720 spin.
And hold on, right before you say who comes out of this car, when I originally saw this in Japanese, when the car came and just did its little turn, and I was like, oh, that's really unsafe to have all these people watching this scene and having a car just jump over. I was like, that's really unsafe, until I found out who was in the car.
Right. Because as soon as the doors open, Meowth and Jesse and James come pouring out, and they're in like Jesse or Meowth and James are in like 1930s gangster outfits, and and Wobbuffet's got a little brown hat on, and Jesse's like
I just love Jesse's line. She's like, "Hop in, Intelion, and we'll blow this pop stand." I was like, okay, all right.
She's like, they're like, we want you on our team, and then the actress is like, so is this part of the plot?
Is this supposed to be happening, or are we just rolling with it?
And the PAs are kind of like, we gotta get these guys out of here. They're ruining the take. And the Kublock is like, we gotta keep rolling. This is gold, Jerry. This is gold. And
keep the cameras rolling. And everyone behind him is just like,
it's like, this is better than I could have asked for. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna keep rolling. And then Intelion's like, well, this is what we're doing.
This will be.
And
Team Rocket didn't sign a waiver, so if they get hurt on the set of this film, they could become rich. Just saying.
Oh no, because they crashed it in the first place.
True, but he decided to put them in the movie.
Oh.
He said, He said, keep rolling.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You're right. Because at that point, he assumes responsibility.
Yes. But Team Rocket.
So Meow. Oh, well, they're not. And so Meowth's sitting on the hood of this car, and he's like, who would have guessed you would have been going with this program? And then, they throw off their disguises. Then they do their intro,
their Team
and
Rocket model.
It's like mega cool and stylized, and I mean it eats up time. So what the heck? And they all end, and they're all standing on the
that's
on the
pretty
roof.
Cool. I didn't realize that on the first or second go around. Do you know when Jesse and James when they're doing the model on the part where it's a yellowish gold background, they use Jesse's hair, and then James does like a backflip and he lands on the ground, that James is completing the R for the Team Rocket R logo? Look at that.
Oh, no, I didn't catch that. That is kind of dope.
Yeah, I just saw it right now. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat.
Like I say, little shit you pick up, you know?
I know.
But yeah, so they do, you know, their intro, and they all end up standing on the roof of this car, and then, you know, you get the standard, no way, it's Team Rocket. And like Sobble, I'm paused at 5:23. Sobble just looks over it. He looks like he's got an upset stomach, but he looks just over it. He's like, man, I was enjoying myself, and now we got to deal with these bozos.
He looks scared, like they're about to take him or something.
And you know, the freaking Kublok is just standing there. He's just creaming his jeans. He's like, this is fantastic. It's adding to the conflict. And
this is right.
And you know, Jesse's like, Inteleon, we did a thorough background check on you, and we've been watching all your movies. And James is like, because of your talents as a spy, we think you would be a valuable addition to Team Rocket's fighting force. So Meowth is like, why don't you just come over here and just accept it? And
leave your ego behind, Meowth says.
And then, you know, freaking Ash and Go are like, you know, why you always got to be mucking up trouble? You know how much money this shoot's going to be behind schedule now?
James is like, that sounds like the twerp. And Meowth is like, stop interfering with us. Jeez. Everywhere we are, you are.
And the poor PAs, they're like, one of the poor guy's got a hold of his script. He's like, I am freaking strange people just popping up, and Kublok's just losing his mind. He's like, keep rolling, we can't lose any of this. And and then it's almost like Jesse and James kind of realize that the cameras aren't being turned off, so they kind of go extra big. And
we're about to be stars.
They call down, and then we get Pelipper, and he drops the vending machine gimmick out of his mouth, crushes the car.
Yeah, I was like, Pelipper had all of this planned and everywhere around it, but just drops it straight on the car. And now they don't have a getaway. They have no getaway.
No. Yeah, because that's how they came in the scene. So they're fucked. And you know, Meowth jumps into position, uses his charm to drop out 2 Pokeballs.
And I do want to point out that this was the first time that Meowth did not react to the turning of the nozzle with his coin inside of the capsule thing.
Oh yeah, because he was probably too jacked up because he realized he was being filmed. That's why.
Yeah.
he's like I can't flinch. And then Jesse throws out a Poochyena.
Yes.
And James throws out a Houndour.
Yes.
And
I love Houndour. I do. That he is low key one of my favorite Pokemon. Just a fire dog, just a fucking badass. And then
like,
as soon as he turns into Houndour, looks like I hope we don't lose any listeners. Kind of looks like the devil a little bit when he turns into Houndour.
Oh, not the devil. Fuck this show.
You can't be saying that on the show. No, but he does. Like he has the badass like he's like muscular, and he has the nice pointy ears, and he's like, I'm a badass, sir. So
and then so Team Rocket's ready to go, and then Ash and Go into the frame. Go throws out Cinderace, and Jesse tells Poochyena to use Yawn.
And
they're like, dodge it.
Yeah, they dodge. And this is funny because the director, they dodge it and the director gets hit right in the face with the yawn. And he's like, oh. He's like,
yeah, he goes down like a light.
He's like, this is all right. And all of his assistants are like, Mr. Kublak, oh my gosh. And then Ash is like, look at what you did. And Jessie, just being so quick-witted like Misty, she's like, you did that by dodging. Don't blame us.
She ain't wrong.
And then Jane's like, look, they've got that baby Pokemon again. Wah, wah, wah. And then they do some flashbacks to some episodes of Pokemon Journeys that we have not covered yet. But in those episodes, they've captured Sobble, and as soon as Sobble starts crying, everyone starts crying. We go to another flashback, and they're caught in a net, and they start crying, and everyone starts crying, and Jessie comes back to the main time, and they're like, I guess there's only one thing left to do. Poochyena, you scary face on the blue baby. And Poochyena just does its scary face and like, nah. And Sobble is like, oh no, and just starts crying. And they're like, oh no, don't cry. You're going to make us cry. This is not fair. And Jessie's like, nobody's goofing things up like the twerps this time. And Wobbuffet's like, yeah, Wobbuffet. James is like, all right, Houndour, go ahead and use Ember Attack. And Poochyena, use Shadow Ball. And then they get ready to use their attacks. Then all of a sudden, pop, pop. And Jessie and James look up and they're like, what the hell just happened to Poochyena? Oh no! And then Sobble stops crying. We see Inteleon is invisible, and then comes back into frame, and it makes himself visible again. He looks over. He's like, "It's okay, Sobble. I got this." And we find out that Inteleon used its water gun attack on Poochyena and Houndour, and Sobble is like, "Oh my gosh, you're amazing." And Jessie's like, that was sneaky. And we have the main star of the movie. She's like, doing one's job and interrupting a movie are the skills of being a spy. She's like, right, Inteleon? Intelion's like, yep. And Inteleon goes invisible again. And they're looking around. They're like, oh no. Oh no, oh no. And we see bop, bop. Houndour and Poochyena get hit again by another water gun. And that's kind of unfair to them because they wasn't even doing anything this time. They're just sitting there looking around. They've already gotten hit. And
I mean, in a way, yes and no. I mean, they are Team Rocket's, charges at that point. So maybe they're kind of guilty by association.
Yeah, I guess. And all of a sudden we get a big splash and Team Rocket goes blasting off again. And they're like, oh, we failed again. And then they're like, but Inteleon is still up on the silver screen. And this water gun was so strong that it even blasted the car that Team Rocket was driving into the air. And they are out of frame. So it's at this point that Inteleon blows into its hand and is like, yup, I just did that. I did all of that. And Doug, I'm going to hand this on over to you, my brother.
So yeah, friggin' Sobble's just standing there. He's just in awe. And then we see a shot of them carrying Kublak off. And somebody off in the distance is like, I think it's a good time to break for lunch. And he hears off screen somebody's like, all right, everybody stand aside. And it looks like Ash and Go are maybe walking back to the professors, and they're like, that was some good shit, wasn't it? And they're like, yeah, for sure. Sobble was beside himself. He was mesmerized. Then that kind of naturally brings them all to kind of turn around and go, hey, Sobble. And Sobble, under the ropes, and because Inteleon is just standing there
all by himself.
Yeah. If I didn't know better, it would almost look like he was having a discussion with that Teamster, but I know he's not, obviously. And the PA kind of picks him up by the ear, basically.
By the fin.
By the fin, thank you. And is like, hey, yo, Shrimp, what are you doing there? And Sobble's crying because the poor fucker's got him by the fin. And runs over. He's like, that's my Sobble. I'm sorry. I should have done a better job keeping an eye on it. But, he's never met Intelion. And, couldn't we just, meet him for a second? We're not trying to be stalkerish or anything. And the PA's like, well, see, it's not my job description. And then I cheated because I was frustrated calling her the female star. Her name is Jacqueline. She's not called that, as far as my knowledge, but
that's what the subtitle.
I went on. It's either mentioned in the subtitle or I went on freaking Bulbapedia.
Oh, okay.
So Jacqueline walks up behind this guy's shoulder and is like, we're done for now, so I don't see why not. And we cut, and they're standing kind of in front of some water, and Sobble's just sitting on a railing, and he's just got his eyes glued on Inteleon. And Jacqueline's like, oh, it takes me back to just how Inteleon here used to look. He wasn't all swab, and
used to be just like you, Sobble.
And then Jacqueline's like, yes, you see, we're partners both on and off the movie set, which I like. I like that, she wasn't just hired and they found a wild Inteleon. Like, I like that it's made clear that this is her Inteleon.
Yep.
Intelion's kind of looking like, yes, the good old days. And he kind of, gives the finger gun to Sobble, like, hey, keep your chin up there, kid. And, kind of gives him a smile. And Sobble could just about melt at this point. He's like, oh my God, he's talking to me. He's talking to me. He's talking to me. And I'm going to become that when I grow up. Oh my God. And just like that. And then we do like an insta cut, and we see they're back in looks to be, it's the training area because what's about to happen. And Sobble's practicing his water gun because there's a leaf on a twig, and he's shooting the leaf with the water gun, and
he looks so cute doing it too.
I was like, how do you like that shit? Looks like Sobble might have a new role model. I didn't notice this the first time, but Sobble does the little finger gun like that Inteleon does, and we see a little drip come off. That's cute. And he's like, and then the freaking Darminian jumps out of the bush again, and Sobble just immediately is like, oh my God, what are you doing? You're gonna give me a heart attack. And he
for a second he gets tough.
He tries to be like game face, and then he just bails. Pardon me. And then we see that Sobble has found safe space behind a bush, and Go has to be like, hey man, nobody becomes strong overnight. And then Go's like, I was thinking, would you like to work with me, in terms of getting stronger, like a trainer should train his Pokemon instead of just running around trying to capture one of everybody. And Sobble's like, you mean it? And
I can help you.
Then we're back in Team Rocket's hideout. Like this episode is all over the place.
Just a little bit.
And you see a poster of the Spy and Sidekick series, and James is like, just seeing Inteleon up close, you could see how strong it really is. And yeah, I was like, yeah, there's no doubt about it. He would be a great addition to our team. And James is like, with all that power, there's no way to force it. And then we missed the part where Jessie stands up with what looks to be a script, and she's like, I've got it, and it's amazing. And yeah, I was like, what do you mean? And Jessie's like, I have a plan, and I'm prepared for anything. And then that's the outline into the Who's That Pokemon.
Yep, and of course, just because Pokemon finally got some sense into them, this week's Who's That Pokemon is Inteleon.
A really cool shot of its eye as well. I thought that was kind of badass.
Yeah, it was.
And pardon me. So looks like we're about to get into some serious training, and goes like, "Are you ready?" And then he's like, "You know what? I don't have a plan."
He's like, what kind of training do you think that we should do? And Ash is like, I got the best type of training. Let's go and do a battle. And goes like, don't forget, and Inteleon's super strong. Oh, that was Ash. And he's like, I guess it can't hurt but to try it.
So
who does he send into freaking battle? He sends Pikachu, who's OG and level 5,000 out of 100,
right,
against baby Sobble, and goes like, all right, Sobble, and Sobble's like, Sobble, and goes like, all right, let's go, and Pikachu is like, all right, I'm gonna Thundershock you. Sobble's like, no, you're not. And Sobble stops in his track and is looking at Pikachu, and goes like, oh, okay, I guess we're playing the long distance game. So Sobble, use water gun. And Sobble's getting ready to use water gun, and Ash is a freaking prick. He's like, you're a target if you stand still. He's like, Pikachu, use quick attack. And Pikachu's running in and goes like, dodge it while using water gun. And it's at this point, Sobble swallows all the water that it was about to shoot out of its mouth. And is like, nope. And it just starts running away from Pikachu. And goes like, where's the water gun? And goes like, I guess Sobble would rather protect itself and then go on the offense. And for now, keep running away, Sobble. And Ash is like, I guess that is the safest way to go. And Pikachu's like, no, come here. I'm gonna get you. And then I think this is the first time in a Pokemon battle Ash indicates, let's take a break. And Sobble just walks over to go, just looking all sorts of defeated. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Go. And Go pulls out the worst line that you could say to a baby Pokemon. He looks at Sobble and goes, I guess you might not be cut out for this. And Sobble's like, what do you mean? And his body turns all white. And goes like, I didn't mean it that way. Oh, what way was he supposed to take it? I mean, there's only one way to take something like that.
Are you a battling Pokemon or are you a lapdog? I mean, what are we doing here?
Goes like, I met your battling style, which Sobble should have taken more offense to that. He's like, oh, you don't think I'm cut out to do any of this. All right, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I'll just go around watering the plants then, if that's how you're gonna fucking
For real.
bullshit.
And he's like, you're always looking for trouble, and if things seem even a little bit dangerous, you run away, right? And he's like, others might say you're cowardly, but I think being able to protect yourself is not a bad thing at all. Yep.
Sobble's starting to get misty because he's like, there's a butt coming, and goes like, it's how you react, and it really helps you protect yourself. And Sobble's like, thank you for trying, and then Ash is trying to get in, so he's like, so you're telling me that you're encouraging Sobble to run away and hide as a battle plan? And goes like, well, I mean, if you want to oversimplify it to shit. But he's like, not exactly. But he's like, that's not the worst idea I've ever heard. And then, they're like, remember on the movie set when Inteleon was sneaking up and, being all stealthy and being a spy? He's like, and he holds Sobble up kind of like Simba in The Lion King. He's like, we're gonna perfect your skills of running and hiding. And Sobble's like,
a good way to train your Pokemon.
Sobble's like, I have no idea what's going on right now.
Neither do I. And I've watched this episode twice.
And goes like, all of us are gonna chase after you, and your job is to not get caught. And Ash is like, that sounds like fun, and I'm not doing anything. What the fuck? It's not like this is a TV show or anything.
We only have 7 minutes left in this episode.
It's probably more like 5 with the credits.
For real.
And Go throws out Cinderace, and he's like, everybody ready? And he tells Sobble to just take off. Sobble's like, they motherfuckers got me running. And he hears Pikachu and Ash coming after him, so he dives into a bush. And then Pikachu dives into that same bush. Sobble's not there. Where is Sobble? Pikachu looks around, he looks around. He looks up because a leaf starts falling down, and then there's Sobble just up in the tree. And Sobble's like, shit, he found me. Sobble's like, shit, he found me. And then we cut to Cinderace and Go. And he's like, looks like he really got himself lost this time. And Cinderace stops, and you see his ears kind of working overtime. And Cinderace reaches into a knothole of a tree, and he just pulls out Sobble, and he's like, hey, fancy meeting you here, buddy. And goes like, all right, Sobble, go get yourself lost one more time. And first we see Sobble behind a bush, then we see him in a tree, then we see him behind a tree, and he's laughing, he's having a good time, and then Pikachu comes around the other side of the tree, and he's like, I got you. And Sobble's like, oh, damn. And then he must take off again, because as the camera's pulling up, we hear Go say, look out, he went that way. And
now he's over here.
So as a viewer, you get the impression that Sobble is getting, A, he's getting better, and B, he's gaining more confidence.
Yes.
And then we see that it's the end of the day because it's dusk, and Goes like, that was very productive, wasn't it? And everybody's walking away because they're all content. And then they see a random the PA, basically the guy that was walking around with the script all day.
He was captured in a net.
I was out getting everybody's lunch, and I was got, and what's his Pokemon? Gothita, and they got him, and they got Gothita, and
they stole Gothita.
Yes, they stole, and obviously you're not going to steal a grown man, and they left a freaking like a map, kind of,
as to where to find them. Because
and they're
not? They have 4 minutes left in this episode, so we have to find these fools.
And they're like, we have to get Inteleon, because that's what the note says. I've got to get Inteleon, and I've got to bring him. I've got to bring him with me, and Go and Ash are like, no, we got him, and they go and they find the freaking. It's like an abandoned mine shaft, basically. I mean, they call it a cave, but whatever. Then there's little Meowth like drones, kind of
pretty cool. Just patrolling.
I'd love to know their budget.
Remember, they do have one episode where they just rack up bills and never pay it off.
That's a good point.
I forgot what season it was, but there's a whole season where they have to repay the debt over to Giovanni, and they're not on payroll anymore until they pay it off.
Ooh, I haven't hit that yet.
I know. There's a whole season about it. It's funny.
So, yes, they're looking at the patrol bots, and then, like I say, the drones come in, and they're like, all right, we got to keep looking. Then they hear Gothita off in the distance, so they go running, and Cinderace just says, action hero, and he just kicks open the door, and there's just a bunch of freaking lit candles and shit, and then you see Gothita is behind the bars. Goes like, Gothita, are you okay? And Ash is like, we're on the way to get you out. And then they get about halfway past, and then bars shoot up, and then freaking robot arms come down with the roof of the cage. And Sobble starts to be like, we're trapped. And we hear Jessie coming from behind a wall, and she's like, why did it have to be you dumb twerps? And James is like, this is so annoying, and like his temples are starting to flare out of his head because you got the three red like anime lines. And
we find out that James is the one that came up with the drone and the Meowth like guard cameras, because all he wanted to do was get a shot of Intelion being so cool, and now he can't.
We cut to like them, what we could assume to be like moments earlier in a patrol room, and they're like, all we get is shots of you guys being idiots. And they're all sitting at the monitor, and they're like, and then Ash is like, you're the ones that need to knock this crap off. And Meowth's like, stop copying me. And Go tells Cinderace to just kick the bars open. And
Cinderace is going to town. He's like, kick, 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 kick. He's like, damn, it won't break.
And you would think it would, considering that there probably is legitimately only like 2 minutes left in the episode.
But no.
But, Cinderace is just like, these aren't breaking. And Jesse's like, did you seriously think it was going to be that easy? And, we had to make it worth your while. And now, because you pissed us off, we're going to take Pikachu and Cinderace.
And then they look over, and they're and Go's like, all right, Sobble, because Sobble's the only Pokemon that didn't get caught in those bars, because we only have a minute left in this episode.
Right.
And goes like, show them the results of your training, Sobble. I know it's a lot, but this is your battle. You can do it. And Sobble's like, yeah, that's right. This is my battle. And he gets his serious face on. And Meowth is like, prepare to be caught. Get ready. And freaking Wobbuffet has these like little pincher claws that he's going to go over and put on Sobble. And goes like, Sobble, water gun, straight up. And Sobble starts spraying the water all the way up. And then he starts wetting everything around him. And then he vanishes. And they're like, oh my God, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? And Ash is like, Sobble just used water from the water gun. And now he's completely invisible. And Sobble... we get an invisible shot of Sobble just looking badass. He's like, yeah, this is my moment. And then all of a sudden, bleh! And Sobble uses water gun on Meowth, and Meowth is like, and
we get a perspective shot. And Sobble, I mean, we can't see Sobble at this point, but we can infer that Sobble's basically like face to face with Meowth, like could reach out and touch him. He's so close.
I know. So he's just drowning Meowth in the face with this water gun. And Jesse's like, even though you can't see him, we know where it is. He's right next to you. And Doug, since there's only a little bit left, I'm going to hand this over to you so you can get some of this action too, my brother.
So Wobbuffet comes over with the grabber. He's like, I'm going to get you. And then freaking Go is like, remember, silence isn't... he's like, silence is just one of the skills of being a spy. And Wobbuffet gets closer, and he goes to get him, and we see that Sobble jumped back, and he goes, pit, to Wobbuffet. And Wobbuffet's pissed off, and then all of a sudden we see from another angle, we see pit, and Sobble's just, he's just pinging from different spots, and he's kind of starting to enjoy it. And Jesse's sitting there like, hey, that's not fair. And James is like, so that's how you want it. And he hits this plunger and a couple of
conveniently
giant, like, just convenient, just like I say, I love this budget. And a couple of giant arms come down, and they have chalk erasers, and they just start banging them together, just so they get a cloud of white smoke.
So they can find out where Sobble is.
Once the freaking the dust clears, Sobble is just plain as the nose on your face, and James is like crying happy tears because our plan to capture our plan for when Inteleon vanishes is going to be
a complete success.
And he's like, we actually got one. And Meowth, brings out his claws, and he's like, I'm gonna get you. And goes like, forget the battle, Sobble, run away. And Sobble flashes back to his like interaction with Intelion, like, keep up the good work, kid. He kind of smirks at him, and Sobble's like, I know what to do. And he just jumps and he hits him with his tail. And then all of a sudden, from Go's, the pocket of Go's hoodie, the Pokeball return beam shoots out, and Go kind of looks and he's like, I didn't do that. Like, he returned to his Pokeball. What was that? And I fucking love Rotom phones, because the Rotom phone's like, oh, he just used a move called U-turn. And he just used a move called U-turn. And Ash is like, isn't that some shit? And he Go let Sobble out of the Pokeball, and Sobble's kind of looking around like, did it work? Did it work? What the fuck? Did it work? And
you just learned a hit and run strategy.
A hit and run strategy for your opponent. And Sobble's kind of still in shock, but he's like, I did? And Ash is like, all right, Pikachu, Sobble, and Cinderace, work together and get out of this cage. And we go over to Team Rocket, and we see that Wobbuffet and Meowth are both out because they've got the anime swirls. And Jesse and James are trying to revive them. And then, we see that
Pikachu used
Iron Tail. And everybody's kind of got this oh shit look. And then Go's like, all right, team up and finish this off. And Go has Cinderace use Pyro Ball, and Ash has
Pikachu used Thunderbolt,
and then the freaking big explosion and blows the roof off of a freaking cave. And for the second time in the episode, they're blasting off again. And the PA is reunited with his Gothita, and they're happy and crying. And then Go's sitting around like, we gave them their taste of their own medicine, pata pata pata. And then we see that Kublak's kind of looking at all the footage. He's like, this is some good shit. He's like excited. He's like bouncing and shit. And then Jacqueline is kind of fawning over Sobble. It's like, oh, you're just a little star, aren't you? And Sobble's kind of looking like, yeah, I'm kind of a badass, but you just keep on talking sweet to me and stuff.
I love how the director is just looking at all the footage of the Pokemon battle because they got it all on camera.
Right, exactly. So even though Team Rocket was trying to be sneaky, their tactics worked out because this man got a bunch of footage for his movie that he didn't have to shoot. Yes. So Team Rocket should probably fight for producer credit or something.
I know. So,
or at the very least, Giovanni. And then we see another moment between Inteleon and Sobble, and this time Inteleon kind of not plinks him, but he kind of gently puts his finger on his head. And Sobble's like, oh my god, this time he touched me. Oh my god, oh my god. And then we go back to the play area from the beginning of the episode, and Go's like, where's Sobble hiding? And we see Arminian's kind of hanging out by the tree, just minding his own business. And all of a sudden, just this big water gun blast comes down. He's blah. And Darmanian's like, who the fuck? And we see Sobble way up in the tree, kind of hiding out, like, hee, aren't I a stinker? And Ash is like, so that's where Sobble was. And Goes like, he's learning that's how it's done, and he's holding up like the peace fingers because it's anime. And the narrator's like, a meeting its idol, and having a heart-to-heart really caused a big transformation within Sobble's heart. And then the narrator's like, so keep your head up and keep improving, Sobble, kind of a go get 'em, scout kind of thing. And that's basically it.
Yep, and that's the end of the episode. How did you think about this episode, Doug?
No Chloe again.
No.
She wasn't even mentioned, let alone not in it. It wasn't like, oh, Chloe's got the flu, or, that time of the month or something.
She's not old enough for that.
Well, you never know. It's Japan. I don't know.
But yeah, what would you give this out of 5 stars? I would give it a solid 3.
Yeah, I was worried that you were going to say 4, and I was going to have to kind of
reel me back.
I was going to have to come in under you. No, I thoroughly would give it a solid 3. Once again, I feel like, take a shot every time we say this at the end of one episode. I had more fun reviewing this episode than I did, watching it initially. I think I can chalk that up to you, because you had a more optimistic view of this episode than I did. And that kind of made me kind of watch the episode with maybe a different eye.
Yeah, they're kind of foreshadowing Sobble's future in this episode.
Well, and you kind of framed it when we got on the call, once we actually started to shift our conversation to Pokemon. You were like, I look at it as like this is like the beginning of Sobble's like growth and movement, his origin kind of thing. And I was like, all right. And then, you kind of told me something that I'm not going to tell the audience. I mean, the audience might know, but for those that don't know, I'm not going to say anything. And I was like, all right, this episode makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. And then you and I kind of went into another discussion that will be more relevant for episodes down the line. But yeah, you and I kind of had a discussion. So yeah, I would be very confident giving this a 3.
Okay. All right. Well, that being said, I think we've done the audience a really good episode, and we don't need to keep them any longer. They can go and start listening to their second favorite podcast now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or listen to a previous episode that they haven't listened to of us and just keep the ball rolling.
Yeah. Get them clicks.
So, all right, Doug. Well, go ahead and say goodbye, Doug.
Bye, Doug.
And this is Professor Chris G telling all of you, I will see you on the next episode, everybody. Have a good night.